sister cousins, welcome to my channel. I'm Lady C and I'm here to tell you how I feel. Like and subscribe if you're new and run it up in the comments. Let me know you stopped by. Now, dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to talk about the Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 16, girl.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Girl, I'm not going to hold you. I'm not going to be too long. I know it's been a while. Okay? I just, wanted to get a little bit of, that out of the way. It is my birthday. I decided, you know what, Chris? Get out of your head. You got this. You're still new to the spaces. You're still new on YouTube. Take your time. Be kind to yourself. So I'm being kind to myself, okay? And I appreciate those of you who have gone with me on the journey. And I pray that I will never take this much time away again. Okay, so let's talk about it, girl. So, girl, I just don't know where to start. Let me just be honest, all right? We're going to be transparent. We're going to, I feel like you guys are like my extended family. You know what I'm saying? And I hope that my family continues to grow. And in this growth, transparency is key, right? So I'm going to be frank. I have not watched The Real Housewives since 2020, right? That was, I believe, Nene's last season. I've been watching my favorite YouTubers covering the show over the last 5 years, and I feel like I don't need to watch the show. I've been watching y'all. So what difference does it make? You know what I'm saying? Plus, it wasn't like I was reviewing or covering these channels, reviewing or covering these episodes on YouTube. I was just a nice little viewer. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to go over to 2020, 2021. I don't know which season that is, do the math, right? But that is with, I tuned in like here and there. I didn't like fully give it my undivided attention, but I was still catching a lot of highlights, but I was also, catching some episodes for myself, right? And so that was, I believe, the year that I think that was Porsha's final season, right? We got introduced to Fallon, and she was supposed to be this like pretty new girl on the block. She had a rich husband. They were taking private jets to the group trip, and it was a thing, right? That scene by the pool, right? And Fallon introduced Porsha to Simon. If you remember, Simon was about to hug her. Porsha reached out her hand like, oh, and right then it was awkward. But none of us knew until we were in the hindsight that was a little bit of an odd exchange. You know what I'm saying? That to me felt like, okay, girl, you were trying to keep up appearances. You know what I mean? And I never messed around with nobody's man or husband, but I feel like when we watch the shows, when we watch the movies, when we see people meet, we may know, interact. I will say this. Okay, so real quick. So when I was in my late teens, early 20s, right? I dated a guy and we worked together. I did not want people to be in my business, right? So what I did was I was like, listen, we have to keep this really, really cute under wraps. I don't really want everybody in our business. If it doesn't work out, I don't want a whole lot of drama, right? And we also witnessed that with Jay-Z and Beyonce, even though everybody knew. And I'm sure when at my employment or place of employment, everybody probably knew. But again, it was my business and I didn't want to share it, right? So we would try to conduct ourselves in the most professional way when we would interact in front of people. And it was it kind of reminded me.
Husband, Simon, everyone. How are you?
You're good. Boom, boom. Yes.
Nice to meet you. Thank you for having us.
He was going to go in for a hug. She's like, oh no, okay, we gotta fist pump or whatever, so we can appear like we just met in front of Fallon. That's what it gave me. Now, Porsha has said that, okay, girl, I was not messing around with Simon. We were this. We didn't become this until after everything was finalized. Nobody cares about my opinion. Who am I? But if you did, do I believe that? Absolutely not. And then I followed Tisa Tells, hey girl. She said, listen, girl, this is what the timeline looks like, and it all makes sense. So when you look at the clip of how they interacted, you can see that there's a disconnect because he's more familiar and she's trying to keep appearances, right? And so then we fast forward to spring 2021. She makes the announcement, we're a family. Whole time I thought that girl, you were trying to make it work with Dennis, but apparently we off Dennis. So now you got Simon in the picture, and I'm like, this can't be real. But it was very real. Like, it was a huge thing. You know, Simon and Fallon, apparently they got a divorce. The way Simon treated Fallon was very cut and dry. You get to walk away with X amount of money. You have until this date to exit the premises. It was very like, it wasn't really messy, that much of a messy divorce. It almost feels like Fallon understood my time is up, right? Now, the Porsha of it all made it a little messy, a lot of messy, right? It made it messy. And so Porsha was swinging, windmilling in the comments, trying to go on this tour. Oh, no, it's not like that. I didn't take her man. He was already up for grabs. All of the things. Does any of that matter? Yes. But will we absolutely for sure know the truth? No. Not unless Simon comes out and says what was happening, or Porsha. Those are the only two people that could really tell. I mean, Fallon, she can say what she wants to say, but she messed it up by getting pregnant by her friend or assistant or whoever he was to the family. So nobody really wants to buy her word, because though people know that Porsha looks wrong for what and how they got together, people couldn't 100% get behind Fallon because of how quickly she went on to get pregnant by the person she got pregnant with, right? So then I'm like, okay, the next season, it should be good because Kenya is going to drag her for filth. However, Porsha like, girl, y'all not finna get this up on me. I'm finna bow out gracefully. And Porsha went on ahead and quit the Real Housewives. And so to me, I was like, you seem like you're dodging accountability, or even just the opportunity to be approached by the questions that everyone wants answers to, right? And so it was all this fanfare of love is love and love wins and all of the things, okay, surrounding Miss Porsha. Now, I never had, if I'm being honest, as a fan of the show, I liked Porsha. I did. I liked Porsha. I thought she was fun. I didn't like things about Porsha, but it's not that I overlooked it. I'm not one of those fans that are so much of a fanatic that I just dismiss their poor behavior. But I liked Porsha overall. Kenya. I liked Kenya at first. I had moments when I liked her. I thought she was great for TV. Kenya had moments as well. There was some moments that I was like, okay, I don't like Kenya. Kenya, I hear, is such a lovely person off the show. So I take that into consideration when I think of these different housewives. What type of person are you just in public? How do you treat the waiter? How do you treat people who are in service to you? How do you treat people that you come across and meet? Everyone has said she's a lovely person. So I have to consider that Kenya, in essence, is a good person, right? And I noticed that, okay, when Kenya has gotten into conflict with some of the women, it was warranted. Now, there are moments when Kenya has gotten into conflict with women and it wasn't warranted. Hence, Kim Fields.
Oh, let me pull your shirt for you. Can you don't do that. Don't do that. Don't.
Hence, to me, the cookie lady was unnecessary.
Hello.
Hi, ladies.
It's the cookie lady. Oh, wonderful.
So, Kenya comes with her own set of critiques, but again, nobody's perfect. Every single housewife who has ever stepped foot on the franchise, onto the platform, has come with their own little quirks that I may not get jiggy with. You know what I mean? But then Porsha, let me bring this mic a little closer. Okay. But then Porsha decides to quit the radio station. And I was kind of confused by that, right? And I was like, oh girl, like, you're gonna quit them all? Now, since her and Simon has gotten together, she tried to do a little, not little, but she did the show with the family. That came and went. We saw her very elaborate 19 million weddings. We saw her, like I said, on the I Didn't Take Her Man tour. A lot has happened between 2021 and I'm going to say, what, 2024, the top of 24? So a good 3 years of her absence, we've seen her, right? So now, every now and again, I would see clips of her and Simon, and I mean, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? But girl, we get to the season. She is like, Porsha Williams.
That's false. But Porsha Guabadia is in the building. See y'all. Mwah.
And I was like, oh, okay. All right. So let's see what is given, right? But since Porsha has exited the platform, Kenya has elected to change her entire brand. She went from I'm playing the villain to now she just wants to chill, get her money, have a little bit of engagement and a kiki session with the girls and go home. Okay. So Kenya is no longer the Kenya from her first season on up into Bolo Gate or whatever, right? So I was interested to see what type of season this was going to give. And Candy had decided she wanted to part ways with the show. Candy has a lot of things going on, so I understood, her deciding to make her exit. There was talk of some new women that were going to come to the show. Marlo was no longer going to be a part of it. And I thought, okay, am I interested enough to watch? I don't know. I really hadn't made plans on watching the show, right? Then I knew that because I live in Georgia. I live near Atlanta, right? And I was made aware through all of the socials that something happened with Kenya and the new cast member. I didn't know her name. I had no clue. But of course, if you're on social media and you follow specific groups, you're going to see what's happening. And so they were like, oh, there's a billboard. And I'm like, a billboard? Because that was the rumor, that there was this billboard of Kenya displaying someone in a revenge P type of, and I was like, that doesn't sound right. That was like all of these different rumors that you was hearing around, friend groups and everything like that, social media, And then I saw a post, I guess the girl And of course, everybody picked it up and reposted what she said. And she was like, oh, I would never. She just laid it on super thick. So, us knowing that Kenya can get down the way Kenya can get down, it's easy to believe that, okay, well, maybe there's some truth to it, right? But then Kenya goes out and says, no, I didn't do that. This is that and the third. I'm like, okay, we'll just have to see whenever the show airs. I can't make a formative decision based off of one side saying one thing and the other side saying another thing. But what happened was she showed up down to the Tamron Hall show, and I'm like, okay, Kenya.
Like this before. So that's why I escalated it to the point where I was protecting not only myself, but my child.
And I was like, well, Kenya, what? Like, what? This don't sound right. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. Like, I was kind of like scrunching my face up a little bit in confusion, but again, I'm willing to see what is what. Now, was I willing to see enough to go ahead and download the Peacock app? No, no, because I was still holding out. I was like, no, I ain't doing it. I'm not gonna do it. Like, I'm gonna just catch the clips, highlights. I'm gonna listen to the diva. Shout out to Erica De Niro, Erica De Niro TV. Shout out to Rodney the Voice. That is where I get my, commentary from. I get my little sprinkles and sprinkles, okay? So I was more than willing. And then I see the clips all over Instagram and social media platforms or whatever, right? So I was like, okay. But then, girl, the season starts. And now everybody's talking. And I'm like, oh, I'm having conversations as if I was watching the show. And girl, I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and download the app. Okay? And I'm going to go ahead and pay for my little subscription. Okay? And I'm going to run it up. All right? Girl, I watched episode 1 all the way through 6. And I'm very, very glad that I didn't watch it week by week up until now, because it allowed me to compile all the data, gather all of the things that's taking place, watch how they interacted to form my own opinion. Because if I watch my faves on YouTube, they have their favorites. Their ideologies don't quite line up with mine. You have Funky Dineva, who is clearly, to me, he is in the mix with the celebrities. I think he likes Porsha. So I don't believe that he's really going to drag it like that with her. But I mean, I'm not saying he can't, because he definitely can. And I have seen him go against Kenya more than I've seen him go against Porsha, right? And so with that being said, I was like, okay, when I listen to his commentary, it's going to be about how he feels, and that's kind of biased. And then when I listen to Erica De Niro, Rodney the Voice, they're Kenya stands. So I'm like, okay, I'm listening to them, but then if you listen to their opinions, it's going to be coded in Kenya, right? So, and I don't feel that way about either one. I'm not a Kenya stan. I'm not a Porsha stan. So I'm just like, okay, girl, I got to watch it for myself because I really need to know. And then everybody seems to be against Brit Edie, okay? And I'm like, all right. I feel like I had to say all of that, lay some groundwork so that I can really get into the meat and potatoes, because that's just how I went. Like, that's just how I feel, okay? Anyway, so girl, hold on. Are you having fun yet, girl? Like and subscribe, baby, because, baby, we are trying to get to 1,000 subs, and everybody helps, okay? Anybody who's anybody. If you like seeing my little face or big face, girl, I feel like I done gained a little weight, so it might be a little big. I might have a big face now. But girl, if you're having a good time, girl, like and subscribe, girl, okay?